Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing two sections that I put together. Basically just adding and subtracting fractions. Some of them have common denominators or like denominators, and some have unlike denominators. So the key for success in this section is to make sure before you add or subtract fractions that they have common denominators. So your key, add or subtract the numerators once you have found common denominators. So you can't do anything. In addition, we're talking about fractions, not mixed numbers. So you need to make everything into a fraction, improper, and then work with that from there. Okay, so we're going to do some examples. I'm going to do about 7 or so with you, and then you're going to try 3 on your own tonight. I don't know what just happened to these problems. I was just seeing them a few minutes ago. Well, we'll move along. Here, we already have common denominators. Okay, that's easy enough. 11 twelfths minus 5 twelfths. So I keep the twelfths. And then you just do 11 minus 5, and you get 6. Because 6 plus 5 is 11. Now, we cannot leave this. We should always simplify our answers. 6 twelfths is the same thing as a half. Okay. I'll just put in a problem here. We'll make this 1 1/4 minus negative 2 3/4. Okay, first thing you should kind of notice is that you see mixed numbers, and we've been talking about fractions, and the only way to work with these right now is to make them improper fractions. So the first thing you should do, this is 5, 4, plus 1 is 5 over 4. And this one is 8, 9, 10, 11 over 4. And we have a minus and negative, so you have to think back to your integers. Remember how everything's building in math. We just did integers. I'm going to start throwing some of that at you. Negative and negative mean that this is actually an addition problem. I have common denominators. Just make myself a little bit more room here. I have common denominators, so I keep the 4. 5 plus 11 is 16. 16/4 I can simplify. 16/4 is the same thing as 4. And then you are done. Okay, number 3. They do not have common denominators, so 8 and 3, well, actually let me make them improper first. I take that back. 16 and 17 over 8 plus 9, 10, 11 over 30. Okay, make them have common denominators. 24 would be your common denominator. 8 times 3 is 24. 17 times 3 times 3, 21, carry 2, 3, 4, 5, 51. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 11 is 88. And you can add 51 plus 88. 139 over 24, and that could be your answer. You can also go with this from here. I'll do it in red, so you know 2 different ways to do it. I could leave the big 2, so I have 2, and make common denominators, 24. 8 times 3 is 24, 3 times 1 is 3. So this is the same thing, 2 and 1/8 is the same as 2 and 3/24. Plus 3, make 24ths. 3 times 8 is 24. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 plus 2 is 5. Big 5. Keep the 24ths. 16 plus 3 is 19/24. These two answers here are the same exact thing. Either one is fine. You don't have to have both. You only have to have one answer, but you can go this route, keeping them as mixed numbers, making common denominators, and then adding. Or you can go this route. Either way is fine. When you're subtracting, sometimes you want to go this way because then you don't have to borrow. Over here, you'll have to borrow sometimes. We'll talk about that if I get to an example. If not, we'll do one in class. Okay, next one. I see a negative, and I see that I'm adding. Now you have to think back to your integer rules. When you have a negative and you're adding, they're different signs. You subtract the 2 numbers, and you take the sign of the bigger number. So I'm going to have to subtract these 2 numbers. have a common denominator of 36. 12 times 3 is 36. 5 times 3 is 15. 9 times 4 is 36. 8 times 4 is 32. Here's my borrowing example. I can't do 1536 minus 3236. So what you have to do is you have to borrow from the 7, make it a 6, and then you're going to add 1 to this fraction. When you add 1 to that fraction, it's like adding 1536 plus 3636, because 36 over 36 is equivalent to 1. I add this. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 51 over 36. Now I can do 51 over 36 minus 32 over 36. Okay, so I'm going to subtract those two. The 6 minus 6 will go away. I have to do 51, keep my 36 here. And I have to do 51, take away 32. I'm just going to do it off to the side here. It's 19. So this whole thing, and I take the sign of the bigger number. This number is bigger, it's a positive number, so my answer is positive 19 over 36. This is a hard one. So you might want to go back and rewind and listen to the steps that I did. First, I made sure what kind of problem it was with the integers. Then I made common denominators. Then I saw I couldn't subtract 15 minus 32, so I had to borrow, add it into my fraction to get this, and then subtract. Okay, that was a lot of work on that one. Now, sometimes you can't borrow. If I look at number 5, 4 and 9, okay, I have common denominator 36. Bring down my subtraction. 4 times 9 is 36. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 8 times 4 is 32. 27 take away 32. Okay, I'm going to get a negative. I can't, there's nothing for me to borrow from. So you have to understand here that you're going to get a negative answer. Different from that last problem I just did, because you could borrow from that whole number. Here we have nothing to borrow from. So this is a negative 5 over 36. These last two can be difficult. Okay, we'll have to do a bunch more in class to practice. Okay, you know what, I'm going to leave these two for you to try. Let me just flip back 1 second. That last one you did already. Okay, I'm just going to leave number 1 for you to try. You don't have to do this one, we just did this one. Okay, just number 1, practice it, and we'll have to go over it in class. Last thing, of course, now that we're in pre-algebra, I add variables to everything, so yes, I'm going to add some variables. Let me show you what they look like. Okay, so now adding variables. Part 3, adding variables. All you're going to do with these variables is going to be very simple. You're going to look, okay, the common denominator here, I'm going to give you common denominators for variables for right now, is 2b. So you're going to keep the 2b. Plus 3 is 8. And then you're just going to see if you can simplify. I have an 8 and a 2 over here. I can simplify those out. I can divide them both by 2. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 4. So on top, I'm left with 4. On the bottom, I'm left with a b. And that's my answer. All right, let's look at one more. Common denominator they both have is 3a, so I bring that over. You do 19 minus 7 is 12. Again, I can simplify. It's going to be a very similar answer, just so happens. Divide them both by 3. You get a 4 on top over a. It's not going to always be this format, it just happens that that's how it worked out in the problem. Okay, we'll do a bunch more in class. If you're confused, please ask some questions. Have a good night.